Today on Crawl, Walk, Strum, I'm going to tell you the easiest way to buy your first guitar so you can stop wasting your time researching and get strumming.
You were starting to crawl and then you wanted to walk and then you wanted to rock, so you picked up your guitar and then you started to strum. Crawl, walk, strum.
Hey friendly strummers, I'm MAXXFIELD and this is Crawl, Walk, Strum. If this is your first time here, don't forget to stage dive the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. Crawl, Walk, Strum is a guitar learning method that I've developed over the past 20 years with hundreds of my students, designed to take you from the first strum to the big show. In order to learn guitar, you need to have one. This needs to be an instrument of a certain quality. It doesn't have to be new, and it can be a hand-me-down, but lots of times I see new students coming in with guitars that just don't work well, and it just doesn't give them a good chance to learn. The two factors that make learning guitar way harder is if the guitar doesn't stay in tune, or if the action is too high. Now, what do I mean by action? Well, action refers to the distance between the strings to the fretboard. If your action's too high, the strings are going to be much too high up, and when you press down, you have to press extra hard to get a good sound. Now, this just isn't going to help you when you're learning, so you want to get a guitar that has decent action right off the get-go. One more important thing about choosing your first guitar is getting one that you think looks cool, that you're going to want to pick up. I mean, you don't want to have some boring thing that just doesn't inspire you. And even though how something looks doesn't necessarily mean it sounds better or worse, if it makes you more interested in actually picking up the guitar, then I think it's actually an important thing. So what guitar do you get then? Well, you got to decide. Do you want an acoustic guitar or an electric guitar? The benefits of the acoustic guitar is that you don't have to plug in an amp. You just get the guitar and it sounds great and you learn away and you don't need any extra accessories. Now, if you want an acoustic guitar, one other consideration you're going to have to make is, do you want it to have nylon strings or steel strings? The difference will be in both sound and feel. I find that with my very, very beginner students that the nylon strings are just a little bit easier on their fingers and it just makes it more of a comfortable experience. However, it does sound different and some people really are drawn to the sound of the steel string. So that will be what you have to decide. On the other hand, if you get an electric guitar, you're going to need to buy an amplifier or maybe an iRig type device so you can hear what you're playing. Now that isn't to say you can't play an electric guitar unplugged, but it's just kind of not as inspiring. Now that you've decided what kind of guitar you want, you need to decide which size of guitar you want. If this guitar is for, say, a child, you might want to get a smaller guitar. If you have smaller hands, you might also want to get a smaller guitar. One more situation where you might want a smaller guitar is if you think you might want to bring it around with you and you're just more likely to have it in the back of your trunk or something if it's small. But don't leave it in your trunk, or how are you going to play it? If you decided you wanted to get a large acoustic guitar, I would recommend something by Yamaha like the F335, which can be found for about $150 new. If you picked that you wanted a smaller acoustic guitar, I would choose the JR1 by Yamaha, which is also about $150 new. If you picked acoustic nylon, I would recommend the Yamaha C40. If you picked the acoustic nylon 3/4 size guitar, I would recommend the Yamaha CGS Student Classical guitar. Now, if you picked an electric guitar and you wanted a full-size guitar, I would recommend something in the Squier range, possibly the Bullet Stratocaster, which is found for about $130 new. And finally, if you picked an electric guitar, but you want a smaller size guitar, I would recommend a Squier Mini Strat for also about $130. That wraps up the first episode of Crawl, Walk, Strum. If you got value out of this lesson, don't forget to pick slide the like, stage dive the subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you have any further questions or ideas for future episodes. Until next time,
Crawl, walk, strum.